At stage 1, the future Fullbringer main starts out as one of two people. Either a new player interested in becoming Fullbringer, or an older player who's making a Fullbringer on the free character slot everyone got upon the Hellverse update. Regardless, this stage is likely going on pretty early into the Hellverse update's existence within the first few days. At first, the new Fullbringer player is just progressing early on, and depending on how early it is and how new of a player they are, they might just move on to the next stage. A lot of people start on this route because they just like the Fullbringers for a variety of reasons. Either they have recency bias because it is now the newest faction / race that is implemented into the game. Maybe they've heard it's a little bit broken, so they want to try it out. Or maybe they just have a Fullbringer character that they really like. Also, I'm live on Twitch, you have to watch me on Twitch! I'm live on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week, 3 days a week, except for this Friday, but that's besides the point. I'm live on Twitch right now as of posting this video. Come watch me on Twitch! At stage 1.5, the Fullbringer player has quit the game. I know, that was fast. If they're a new player, it's possible that they quit entirely and just never come back to Type Soul due to the bugs and issues with the game at this time. And if they're an older player who is just trying to progress, then it's likely they're just quitting temporarily until most of the bugs are fixed, because on release, Fullbringer wasn't even fully progressible and had a glitch where you couldn't get all your skill points like you were supposed to. Eventually, the player will usually come back and reach the next stage, but if they don't, then they'll probably never come back to Type Soul. At stage 2, you're finally Elite Grade, and you start to realize that Fullbringer might actually be pretty fun. You also start learning more about how it works and developing your own playstyle and combos. You already have your Fullbring, but haven't ventured hell as a Fullbringer yet to get your Twin Souls in this slot, because you're not completely ready to face the PvP or the PvE in Hell, both of which require a bit more experience. Stage 2.5 depends greatly, but a lot of people may end up as gambling addicts, addicted to the rerolls. You need chess, you need Time Tells No Lies, maybe even Zangetsu, but just anything that isn't Dollhouse or Devil's Arm will do. In this stage, the Fullbringer player is farming as many rerolls as they can, so that way they can possibly get something good like a legendary, or maybe even mythicals if they're lucky enough to get one of those. Most people generally go for chess right now since it's broken, but a majority of people spend at least a little bit of time gambling and farming for something ideal, because nobody wants commons. Even if they're good, that's boring. Getting a legendary at least gives you a little bit of dopamine. That's why Souls RNG exists, right? At stage 3, the probably chess-using Fullbringer player has a new level of understanding as far as Fullbringer goes. They know Fullbrings are broken, they know their kit is strong, and they know that they don't need to do anything, and they'll still probably win. They can spam chess Kingsguard every 20 seconds for a free combo escape. They don't even need to care about what they use, because speed, broken, Hakata, broken, Kendo, broken. It's all broken. No matter what you do as a Fullbringer, you will be able to thrive. So it really doesn't matter what you do, you just need to have fun. At stage 3, you begin to understand this, and you crutch on anything you can, and it always works. At stage 4, the Fullbringer player begins to struggle. At this point, you likely have your Twin Souls, or at least are capable of getting it and are nearing it. Regardless, you start going against better players and realize your crutch might not be strong enough without some skill to go with it. Regardless of your build, at some point you'll need to improve, whether it's in the 1v1 arena or in overworld ganks. You start facing better players and begin struggling against the ones you thought you'd be able to beat. In a lot of players, this may cause identity crisis, where you start feeling terrible or like you're getting worse at the game as you continue to play it. But in reality, you're not getting worse, you're just facing better people, so even if you are playing, you're probably still getting better, but the scale at which you're improving just doesn't feel like it's enough. At stage 5, the Fullbringer player begins to feel angry for a variety of reasons. Either their favorite Fullbringer Twin Soul got nerfed, or they're just mad that they're bad now in comparison to the people they're fighting. Regardless, the Fullbring player has begun to feel a lot of anger, and they blame the Fullbringer as a faction. Maybe they think something else would be more fun, or maybe they find Fullbring too repetitive since it's all they've been playing recently. They're just tired of Fullbringer and using it at this point, which leads into stage 6. At stage 6, the Fullbringer player has decided to take a break from Fullbringer. They just don't want to play it anymore. If they're a new player, they'll probably find themselves progressing new slots, trying out new factions, maybe trying to find something else that they find fun. If they're an older player, they'd probably just go back and play other slots they already have, or use their old main slot. Some people, particularly older players, will never really come back to Fullbringer from this point in time. New players might also just quit Fullbringer entirely, but if the Fullbringer player does come back, they'll reach 7. For those who don't reach stage 7, they'll usually go on to play something else if they don't quit the game. But it usually ends up being either a Reaconteur or Soul Reaper, because Quincy's in a weird spot right now. At stage 6.5, the Fullbringer player incorporates metamancing into their break period. Metamancing is when you change your build as updates happen in order to make sure you always have the strongest build possible. Any little broken edge, any broken interaction, any bug you find needs to be abused because higher elo clearly means you're the better player. Right? Anyway, this is usually a period of high toxicity for the Fullbringer player, since they're very dedicated to winning, which is why they change builds so often. Because the best build possible means the most potential for winning, even if it's a boring playstyle they don't really enjoy. At stage 7, the Fullbringer player returns to Fullbringer. They've grown tired of whatever they temporarily moved on to during stage 6 and came back to Fullbringer. It's what they like. There's some reasons for it. Maybe your favorite character in Bleach is a Fullbringer. Maybe your favorite arc was the Fullbringer arc, or maybe recency bias has just made you really interested in Fullbringer for you as a whole. Whatever your reason, you remember it and it draws you back into the alluring power of the Fullbringer. At stage 8, you have decided to dedicate yourself to getting better at the game. You actually learn how to ideally use your kit and dedicate yourself to improving at the game. Any measurable metric that you can track or that can be used to track, you start to rise in. Whether it's overworld ranks, ranked arena elo, or just your own tracking and the thought that you're getting better at the game by noticing your own improvement. You start to improve significantly. You learn better combos, you learn better mix-ups, you learn how to feint maybe even, not that anyone feints anyway, but you're probably at least getting better at parrying, and all of that will lead you on to stage 9. At stage 9, you have hit your peak skill level. This stage is different for everyone because not everyone is equal. Some people's peak is in the top 10, some people's peak is in the top 500. Regardless, you're at your best and you'll likely remain at this level for a long time before falling out. However, unless you're one of the best, there's still improvement to make, and yet the Fullbringer player finds themselves at a plateau, unable to get better at the game or improve anymore. Maybe it's because their build isn't strong enough, and maybe they're just at a high enough level where skill doesn't cut it anymore when you're both evenly matched. The better build can just win sometimes. But eventually, everyone will reach this stage, and eventually everyone might reach stage 10. At stage 10, you become bored. It's the final stage. Everyone will meet it eventually no matter what. Everyone becomes bored at things at some point in life. And by reaching stage 10, you've reached boredom. Some people continue playing despite being bored because they don't have anything else to do. Other people continue playing despite being bored because they feel like they're too good to let that skill go to waste, and they know if they stop playing, they'll get worse. Others continue on because they spent too much time and don't want to feel like it was wasted. But for those of you like that, maybe you should just accept that things can be fun for a time, and if you enjoyed it, then it isn't a waste. And those who can finally accept this will move on to the secret stage, stage 11. Stage 11 is freedom. Freedom from type soul. Freedom from the grind that is ranked, or clan wars, or overworld elo. You no longer serve this game's player count and you find yourself free, happy. The time you spent on Type Soul was fun, but it's over now. It wasn't time wasted. It was time spent enjoying something you once liked. Maybe you'll come back to it every once in a while, but it no longer has a hold on you. You don't need to play it anymore. You don't need to gamble for the best new elements. You don't need to come on and grind elo anymore. You don't need to get the best new weapons and change your build in Metamance every week. You're free.